Good afternoon, creator. Corey here. We just came back from a run around the park across the street. We feel pretty good. We got the blood flowing, got our energies up, and today we're going to go over section 5 called Celestial Vibrations. And this chapter is about 28 pages long. So let's continue. Okay, section 5. Celestial vibrations. It is the attitude that we assume towards incoming stimuli that suggests and determines the direction and kind of motor discharges, or bodily reactions of all kinds. The individual who acts upon impulse is simply following the tendency of the stimulus. Hence, he often has occasion to afterwards regret that he has done so. Kind of like right now, like I just went for a run, so I feel very energetic, and the individual who acts upon impulse is simply following the tendency of the stimulus. Okay, individuals that go act certain ways, do specific things in accordance with how they're feeling, at that moment in time, and sometimes it could either be of, something constructive or destructive, because they may afterwards regret doing so. Quote, "The stars inclined, they do not compel." End quote. During the spring quarter, nature brings forth new growth, but we may choose not to plant anything, and it is easy to predict that with no planting, there will be a shortage of food during the following winter. The wise man does not rule his stars, he rules himself, and acts in cooperation with the duly timed operations of nature, the results providing the wisdom of his choice. On the other hand, we are most apt, under adverse aspects, to feel inharmonious and to act likewise, and thus bring displeasure and opposition, which produce obstacles, limitations, and difficulties. So the man who understands the forces that he is being influenced by the stars, he has the power to control himself, even if he's going through those days where he doesn't feel 100%. He still has control of himself, so he's doing 100% of what he could that day, regardless of any external influences that is happening upon him. The word, quote, aspect, end quote, is the term which has been adopted to indicate the position of the planets relative to each other, and their consequent influence upon the earth and its inhabitants. It will readily be seen that if Jupiter gets between Saturn and the earth, the influence of Saturn is nullified. His vibrations do not reach us. It will thus be seen that the planets are continually forming angles, by which they amplify or nullify the effect which might be expected. Wow. So that paragraph is saying basically, okay, here's Earth, which will be the dream rock. Here's Jupiter, which will be the laugh rock. And here is Saturn, which will be the live rock. Okay, if Jupiter is in between Earth and Saturn, the Earth wouldn't be so influenced by the vibrations coming from Saturn because it has Jupiter in between. But let's say if Jupiter was up here, okay, and Saturn was way back here, then the influence will be more powerful between Saturn and Earth because Jupiter is not in between. An aspect will find response only in those who are attuned to receive that aspect, just as a wireless telegraph receiver is attuned only to the vibration of correspondingly tuned transmitters. Hence, one person may sense the working of an aspect while his own brother may not. The physical process of the effect on an aspect is a change in the chemical constituents of the human body, so that some of the fluids are overcome, depleted, or diminished, while others may be increased. The corresponding change in cell structure draws the attention of the mind to a recognition of disturbance in the body by means of aches, pains, sickness, and weakness. In the realm of the mind, an adverse aspect of Sun and Saturn tend to mental depression, the extreme effect of which is melancholy, sarcasm, and resentment at apparent restraint and limitations, or lack of opportunities. It also inclines to timidity, fear, and a tendency to retrench, quit, back down, and give up the struggle. For it is in the struggle to those who are thus affected, and many who are ill succumb because of the preponderance of these feelings, while those who are not strong in a business way feel that the obstacles are too great, and so they fail where stimulating encouragement and kindly assistance kindly assistance from those who understand these aspects would tide them over the period of its influence until normal conditions again prevail. Okay, so man, how could we explain that? Okay, because a person, if they're going towards something and they feel that the obstacles that they're going through are too great, and they don't have the stimulus for inspiration and motivation, and if they don't know how to motivate themselves and actually build within themselves the energy to help them keep going and overcome that obstacle, and if they don't have others to help them, overcome their mental barriers, that is one reasons why people don't go after or continuously go after the things they want, and people end up quitting. That is why we are here learning all of this, so we understand all of these forces, and not only that, but understand ourselves, and these universal laws, so that we know that, hey, there's no reason to quit, because we know as long as we keep doing this, okay, as long as we keep giving, we're always going to receive, okay, in one way or another, in one form or another, no matter what. Remember the law that we are learning, that you must give first in order to receive. So whatever goal you have in mind, okay, always give something every single day towards that goal that you have in mind. Because when you continually give towards that, when you continuously give energy towards that specific goal, then that goal is going to come and build. It takes energy in order to create that thing. As long as you're continually putting energy into that thing every day, it's going to build. It's going to build. Now that's one thing that regardless of how you're feeling, you need to do 100% of what you can do that day, because you're still going to be taking actions towards that goal that you have, okay? And it's the daily continuous actions that make that goal happen, okay? It's the daily actions towards it that make it happen. It's that lovely word, consistency. The zodiac has been divided into 12 parts, each division possessing a distinction of its own. It is in these divisions of the zodiac that the essence radiated by the sun is incorporated with the gravities characteristic of the particular position of the zodiac through which they pass. In every physical manifestation in the universe, be it mineral, vegetable, or animal, will express in its nature the character of the particular division of the zodiac to which it is attuned. At the moment of birth, when the child draws its first independent breath, filling the lungs and oxygenizing its blood with the elements of the atmosphere, which at the moment prevail, according to the nature of the particular planetary aspects operating at the time and place, it receives impresses or tendencies to which it is always afterward responsive whenever like conditions reoccur among the vibratory influences of zodiacal aspects. People respond to those vibrations or aspects to which they are attuned, and they are immune to others. One thing I want to add when he says here, when we breathe in, filling the lungs